like yesterday where we had 34 and got shortlisted to 6. You want the whole 34 in front of us?
No, shortlist.
So you want a short list of how many, roughly?
There's a question of whether or not you
I'll
want
leave
the
that to
short
Greg
list. Yes, this is a question around whether or not you want a committee to do your sorting, and that could be extending the delegations that the current PMG has, or setting up a new committee to do that. That's the options. The decision in the end will always be a full council decision.
So personally, I think the PMG should do it, but I've asked you once before, and I would ask you again as chair of the TT board, even for this process, would you join that committee?
I would, yes. So I'm not part of the current PMG, but if there was an ad hoc committee and I was invited to join that, I would be happy to take part in that process.
But I did invite you to join the PMG committee. You declined.
Yeah.
But would you join it for this process? Can he join it for just this process?
You could alter the delegations to allow him to join for that process if that is what you chose to do.
Council be happy with something like that?
Yeah, I actually feel the PMG committee is a little bit light. I think there's 11 members around here. It's only represented by 3 councillors, and it is quite an important committee that makes a big decision. So
Harry, I agree, but all those decisions always have to come back to council to be ratified. But
yeah.
I agree with you. In fact, I'll ask Councillor Kepper again. Can I do that? Because I asked him at the beginning of the trium, he turned me down. But can I ask him now to join the PMG committee for the rest of this?
That is a council decision as to who actually sits on that committee, so it needs to be part of the resolution. And I'm just rewording that if to give you an option there.
Because if you remember, when we did the process of nominating people for this committee, because we'd done away with chairs and we'd restructured the council, and I think at that particular time Councillor Henderson had not been appointed to council because there was that process of with Don Ormsby and Councillor Henderson. So that's why there was no representative from Turangi on there. That's my understanding, and there was only the 3.
Last training we had Uvagan, McKelvey, Cooper and Ormsby. Yeah. This year we've dropped back to 3. But in defence of it, I did ask Councillor Kepper, and I will ask him again because it should be 4. Yeah, he is the chair of TT, so it's mayors and chairs.
Yes, yeah.
I was just going to say that the group was previously made up of the chairs. Yes. And I am the chair of the TT board, and I would want to be part of this process in the shortlisting of CEOs. I mean, that wasn't on the floor when I was first invited to join the PMG group. It is now, and I've changed my mind.
Well, you're entitled to change your mind. If the fellow councillors agree, we can appoint you onto and bolster up the PMG committee. Not a problem.
Well, do we have to move that then?
Well, we'll do in a minute. Hang on.
Okay.
Henderson trying to talk.
Yeah, I support that proposal for Gary to join that committee and anybody else who may wish to give it a bit more of a broad base. I don't think there's a need for the whole council to interview everybody. As long as council gets to sign off on whatever decision's made and there's a later check and balance, I'm fine with that. So I support that as a way forward.
So have you got a resolution there?
Councillor McLeod?
Councillor Kirk?
No disrespect to fellow councillors and you, Mr Mayor, who are on that committee, but I'm still... sitting around with 11 people going through CVs and whatnot does seem a bit tedious, but I'd want to have some input. I mean, that is our council staff member, and I can't... Would you really get 34 CVs for a CEO position?
Why wouldn't you?
Well, yes, but I just...
Look, disband the PMG committee and just hand it all back to council. I'm quite happy.
I'm just talking about this.
You will get over 30.
The agenda item is about Chief Executive Officer recruitment. That's what we're talking about. I'm not talking about the PMG committee at all.
It's what the PMG committee's always done.
Yes.
And it reports back to council.
Yeah, and I'm not happy about the Chief Executive Officer's recruitment being settled by those 4 particular people.
I don't think you're listening, Councillor Chick. It's not settled. We shortlisted and bring the shortlist back to you.
I'm not happy with that.
So you want the whole, whoever applies, you want to put here.
Well, whether it's that or ad hoc, I mean, what if other councillors want to have some input into that process? We didn't get the opportunity to get asked if we wanted to be on PMG in the first place. It was just sort of, we were told.
And I don't think I would like to endorse Councillor Kirk's comments. I don't think that there are some people around this chamber that have considerable experience in recruitment. So I think we may as well harness their skills and experience.
Okay, well, that's
and it is one of the most.
You guys form an ad hoc committee.
And appointing our CEO is one of the most important roles, and monitoring our CEO.
You'd like to do that too? Because that's PMG do that. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll resign from PMG and you go on. I'm happy. It's worked for me.
Mr. Chairman, the ad hoc committee would only be involved in the recruitment process.
Councillor Williams wants to be monitoring as well. That's what PMG does.
Well, I don't think this is the forum to decide that. I'm just saying that perhaps following on from Councillor Kirk's comments that we might want to just review the PMG role.
Just, Nicola, we're talking to recruitment, that would be another conversation, but now we're up to 6 minimum. It's like, it's minimum of 6 now. I don't, part of the recruitment process, that's kind of like the numbers, I'm adding them up, so that's fine if we say there's a minimum of 6 councillors involved in the recruitment process. That's up to 6 so far, so rather than that, the other process you're talking about is another debate altogether.
Yeah, it is, but I do think it needs to be looked at because it is such an important part of what we do as a council. And how we
obviously
how
that's
we
a vote of no confidence in the people that are already doing it.
It's absolutely not.
Well, why would you want to take the role office that we're already doing?
I didn't say I wanted to take the role from you.
What did you say? It's going to be a very long day, but you...
No.
Well, I've offered my resignation from that committee, and you can go on to it because I just got to move it on and get it done.
Okay.
You've got a lot of experience employing people.
What I said was there are people around the table who've got something to add. Let's harness their views. I didn't make any comment whatsoever over the existing committee. I did not make that comment.
What do you want to do? We need to know. We need to know. I mean, here's the chair. So, what do you want?
Officer recruitment. And possibly that an ad hoc committee with a few more than just PMG was on it. That's all. If it's not agreed to, that's fine.
We'll form a completely separate committee.
I'm one of 11 people sitting here and putting my opinion forward, as I'm entitled to do.
Point taken. So what are we going to do? Councillor Downard?
Can I just say that in the past 3 years, because I've had 4 years, but in the past 3 years, it was the chairman of the RNH, it was the chairman of the TKMP, it was the mayor, and deputy mayor, and that's always been the PMG. So that's the history of that. And then this year it came in to be the mayor, the deputy mayor, and then the mayor thought it would be appropriate to have the Turangi represented and Mangakino represented in that. And that's where the PMG committee came from. And it was all new to me and Kirsty, and no one's brought up anything that they wasn't happy. I can understand that Councillor Kirk would like to be in the process of the recruitment of the new CEO, and that's understandable. But the monitoring side of it, I think, we've tried to streamline the performance, performance attributes down to, there was heaps. There was a big thick file that Rob had to send to, so it's a difficult thing to have too many heads, in there and coming up with different things. My